Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Kanchana Banerjee. I'm an author and I write crime stories. And this is a place where I am in conversation with interesting people from different walks of life, from different professions. So do join in, subscribe to the channel, and share and leave a comment if you feel like it. My guest today for this podcast episode of Telltale with Kanchana is a young woman who has done something which most of us, if not all of us, have at some point in time in our lives dreamt of doing, going away to the mountains and opening a small school for kids, for the local kids, teaching them, living with them. Isn't that a dream that most of us, or at least some of us, have seen? But my friend today and guest for the podcast, Portia, who has joined us from all the way from Spiti Valley, has actually done that. A very warm welcome to you, Portia. Thank you for agreeing to feature on Telltale with Kanchana. I'm delighted to finally, get to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
So,
for hosting me.
so Portia, tell us about your journey. How did you land up from Gurgaon all the way to Spiti?
So it's quite a journey, and I was actually very happy, working as a journalist and at my job, and the cushion life that we have in the cities, where you don't even have to go out if you don't want to, and you can get everything delivered to your doorstep. So leaving that was such a scary dream, and I had thought about this journey way back in 2013, but maybe I was not so determined about it, and it was in the back of my mind. It was only in 2016 when I lost my father that it kind of changed everything for me, and I was badly looking for a connection with him, so that I always believed in science. I always believed in signs that we look for, in our day to day lives. So, being the only parent that I had in my life, living parent in my life, so it was such a double the loss that after losing him, that I went into depression and spiraled, out of control. And I was also working at that time with CNN News 18 in Noida, and every day was such a burden to just get up from bed and get ready, go to work, put on that work face on, and smile at people, do your work diligently, but you're just not there. You're there, but you're not there. I used to go out on these dinner meetings with my friends, get togethers, parties, but I was just lost. I was not there. And finally, after therapy and hours of, counseling and everything that I tried to get out of my depression phase, in 2018, I decided to celebrate my birthday in Spiti again. So I planned that solo trip and I came here. And this was the second time in Spiti, but it was such a different time for me. Like I had changed. When I was here in 2013 for the first time, Spiti was different and I was also a carefree girl. But in 2018, I had matured, like in 5 years, I had matured, like say for 10 years, and things had changed. So it was then that I got stuck here. I had come here for a week, but I got stuck here for 1.5 months because of the snowfall. And I had ran out of cash. There was just one ATM that also, like, lost the link and everything. So I started living with a local family and I started teaching the kids there. So, after starting to live like a local with them in the house as a family member, and they were so kind to take me in, it was only then that I started to realize the layers of problems that are here. It's not like there are no schools at all. So there are schools. They might not be very feasible for everyone because of the fees that is involved. Second, even if they can afford it, the quality of education is not that great. So that I realized, then English speaking teachers were missing. So overall development of kids, not just textbook knowledge. That is what I was realizing, that there are many gaps in between. So I kind of thought that what can I do? I decided, I even mentioned it to them that I would someday, come back and start a school, but they laughed it off, saying, tourists aate hain, they say these things, but they never come back. So it was only in 2020 that I packed my bags and I finally came here.
So, I wanted the last time I had met you, in fact, I mean, just to tell my viewers that I met Portia when I had visited Sitla, which is very close to Mukteshwar in Uttarakhand. And there she was, playing with the kids of the Sitla estate, teaching them. And she was like, you were totally like a kid with them, I mean, an adult kid with them. And we went on a long trek, and Portia and the kids accompanied us. So, Portia, how did you land up from Mukteshwar to Spiti? Because I remember my conversation, and this was I think late 2020, right, when I had met you in
Right,
Mukteshwar.
right, right.
And at that
So soon
and at
after
that
that,
time, and at that time, you were still, I think, doing some freelance writing.
right, right. Was writing for this US magazine online,
Hmm.
and also teaching the kids in my free time. And as you said, I'm an adult kid. I've always been like that, and it just makes me super happy. So because I had that plan in mind back from 2013 that I want to go back to Spiti and do this. See, Uttarakhand or any other place, when people ask me why Spiti, it's only because this is a very cut off far away world from any of the well connected places that we have in India. There are many villages, I understand, that also needs help, but I'm sure there are many resources available there. It's well connected, so people can also come down easily and be able to help. But in Spiti, it's a different world out here. So I always had that in mind, and I think after I met you, it was just after meeting you, I think 1.5 months later, that I packed my bags from there and I started on this journey here. Because back then, my plan was always to go to Spiti. But it was like Uttarakhand was a stopover because back then Spiti had not opened for the tourists yet because of the lockdown and COVID. So as soon as the restrictions were lifted, I found a place and I moved to Spiti.
I can't tell you how courageous and how adventurous this sounds, and it is a very bold step. So, how did your family react to this? Because I remember when we had met, you spoken about your brother and your brother's family, who kind of were a little shocked that you wanted to leave Gurgaon and come to Mukteshwar. So when you conveyed to them that you are moving to Lahul Spiti, what was their reaction? Was there any backlash from your family?
Uh, See, I think I was always known to be this crazy kind. So I don't think it was kind of a shocker for them, because packing my bags for good to go to even Uttarakhand, that remote place, it was not kind of a city or town, right? It was a village. So even that was a bit of a surprising element for them. And when I shared that I am now moving to Spiti, and they knew it since 2013. I had always talked about it, but they kind of never figured that I would actually take that up. And they told me, they also warned me that it's not going to be like Sitla as well. It will be more much tougher, and you would be much cut off from the entire world. You might not even have signal over there. So are you ready for something like that? And I've always been a more of a crybaby, you know. I had this princess syndrome as well, so wanted everything on a platter. So yes, I've had my share of ups and downs. Even with my brother and his family, they were also like they kind of initially thought it's more of a hobby, let her be. Maybe if she goes there, and when she'll actually see what the ground reality is living there for good, she'll maybe make up her mind and come back.
हाँ, एक महीने
But
में वापस आ जाएगी. She will,
हाँ,
होश
हाँ, हाँ,
ठिकाने आ
that's
जाएगा
what they thought.
and एक महीने में
Yes,
वापस आ जाएगी. But they
yes,
did
that's
not
what they thought.
they did not know that this young woman with princess syndrome also has a very stubborn and a determined streak in her, which kind of kicked in.
Yes,
So
yes.
tell me, what is it that you exactly do in Spiti Valley?
So I started teaching kids right under a tree here in the in Kaza. But it was more like a fun learning, like, dancing around, maybe English rhymes, make them open up, talk about, their life, what they want to do in life. So it was like a more of a fun center, or you could say, like, we would draw, we would paint, we would help them with, like, their tuition, so, homework and everything. So started off like that. Then I started a library here and a
Mm.
learning center. I took up a place on rent and built a library, and then we started off like that. Then the next year, I started a boarding school with just 3 kids. And I rented another room, which I converted into a dormitory. And the youngest child was not even 3 years old. He just turned 3 after 2 months after starting the school. So, they were very young, just 3 kids. And that's how I started. Thankfully, I
And
found support online.
and why were these kids of such a young age coming and staying in a boarding school? Why were they not staying with their parents?
So they come from villages, and their
Okay.
villages don't have proper schools. They have, I mean, one of them also had a school, but you know how teachers are not so uh, frequently visiting the schools, I would
Okay.
say. So the parents wanted good quality education, and because it was for free, so it was also a bit easier to convince the parents to send their kids. It took a lot of convincing, of course. Even
Mm.
then, even if it's for free, people, how they doubt if there's something for free,
Of
that
course.
whether it'll be good, whether it's actually free or not. And I was an outsider, I'm still an outsider. But much loved, much appreciated and supported now. So
So,
from there, then I started looking for a much more bigger place, and also which would be sustainable in the long run. So
hmm.
here in Kaza, because of its touristy vibe, the places are not very low on rent. So I was paying a huge rent for
Huh.
the library, then the dormitory, then a classroom. So it came around to be 40K every month, which was not sustainable in the long run.
Hmm.
And I still had my full time job, work from home that I was doing,
Hmm.
and managing everything in the
Is that how
daytime.
you were is that how you were funding all this?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
every single penny into it. So,
Hmm.
I was working in the night. I was also taking up some freelance gig, and that's how I made it work for the first year. Then we found a much bigger place in a small village called Comic, which is also the world's highest village with a motorable road at 15,500 feet. So we got that place for a very cheap rent for a lease of 10 years, like 36,000 a year. So it
Oh,
was a
wow.
huge relief for me,
Hmm.
and so we just moved to that place. It was a big step because the place was in a very dilapidated condition. We had to, like, restore it, renovate it, build all the classrooms, the dormitories, bring in stuff, also do the interiors, and everything. But I got help, and thankfully, it just kept on saying that the universe was on my side.
True.
I got help.
True. True.
Yes.
So tell me something, Portia. You've been doing all this all by yourself, or do you have a partner, in work or in maybe in life who, who's there with you, helping you do this? How are you managing?
So initially it was all me. And yes, I do have a local partner who's also the NGO director, because you need two people to start an NGO in India.
Ah,
So that's how we became friends. And yes, and him and another group of friends that I've made here in Spiti, they've been like a constant pillar of strength, bolo, ya fir, lifetime friends. Partner, I don't think there is a lot of time in my life for that. And
mhm.
I have also been asked always, like, aren't you getting married? If you would have married at this right time, you would have had your own kids to
Uh-huh.
take care of and all of that. But yes, of course, I mean, I do want to have a partner and settle down someday. But I'm just trying to figure out how that would fit into my this
Of
life
course.
as well.
Of course, you are a woman on a mission of a different kind, and I think your passion and your goal is somewhere else, and and kudos to you. So, I mean, looking back, Portia, if I were to ask you, what were the biggest learnings that you would say in the journey that has gone behind, And if you were to do it all over again, would you change a few things? Would you do a few things differently?
Mm, in this journey, uh, I would have wanted to change just one thing, which is like, come back with a lot of patience. I really, really struggled with, having patience. So I am that person who's myself a go getter. And I always, expect that people would also be the same. So, say, for example, if I say that, okay, tomorrow we are going to build the classroom, we are going to go and do this, we are going to go and get the books, we are going to go and do this. But not everybody is like that, right? You need to do some convincing. You need to also, even if you're doing good job, like, I used to ask myself, why do I need to explain people? Why do I need to explain myself when I'm here with a good intent? But and I needed a lot of patience for that, because it was not easy. I've been questioned even by the locals. I've had bad days when people have doubted me. People have said things like, what is her agenda? Maybe some foreign organization is funding her. Then some kid came back and spread a rumor saying that मैम को तो $100 मिलता है हमारा हम जैसे गरीब बच्चों का फोटो खींचने के लिए. So so things like that, yes, it used to get to me, and it used to also, like, hurt me a bit. I feel the only change that I would like to see in that whole journey, if I had to do it again, was to come up with that whole mental space, that you need to have a lot of patience, a lot of maturity. Not just good intent is enough. You have to have patience. Your people skill is very important. Then, yes, money. Like, I was so naive. I used to think, no, only intent is enough. Money not so much. Money is not so important in life. I've always been like that. I'm not very attached to materialistic things. For me, even in people, I only look for two qualities, which is like, you have to be brave and you have to be kind. So it's again a very rare combination. Some people are brave but they are not very kind to others, and some are very kind to others but they are not necessarily brave. So, I kind of always have looked for that combination. And I truly value those principles and all the values that my father had passed on to me. So, just all of that, that if I could have come up with that whole mental space, more matured. Yes, money is also important, because if you're offering something for free to kids, and their parents need to be reassured that they'll be taken care of. And on the other hand, if you're yourself struggling to provide, so it's not a great picture that you're offering.
Mm.
So yes, some financially backup plan would have also been a good thing,
Good
I
thing.
feel.
But yeah, all of us live and learn, Portia, because, I mean, it's only when you get into the water you realize how deep it is and how much better of a swimmer you have to be and how to navigate, the rocks and the cliffs. And, I guess that is what life is all about, learning,
Yes.
unlearning, and relearning, and, kind of learning from your mistakes and carrying on. And we are all of us a work in progress, till the day we die,
Yes,
we are a work in progress. So tell me now we talk
absolutely.
about why passion and dream and intent is very good, but one cannot not think about the financials of it all. So how are you funding these things? Taking up a bigger space and and providing for the kids, giving them meals, giving them their stationery, their a writing table, etc. And and Spiti is a seriously cold place. I think the normal temperature during summer is about 3 4, and in winters it goes to, I think, minus 20 25. Am I right?
Minus 38, yes.
And
It's
right,
minus 18 right now. It's
it's
minus 18, and we are in end of March.
yeah,
So yes,
yeah. So then
I get it.
you
I mean,
yeah.
people think that a village, a remote place like Spiti should not be expensive. If you're maybe seeking sponsors for the kids, they'll be like, why the sponsorship amount is so high, but they don't realize that it's a boarding school. You have to provide at least 5 meals, because these are all young growing kids, including milk, fruits, which are again not so easily available here, because the few cows that we have, because we don't have grasses, so the cows also don't give up enough
Oh,
milk.
okay. So then how
for
do
the
you,
locals.
so then from where do you get your funds and how do you get your funds?
So it was started with all my savings and the
Mm,
earnings that I was currently, earning. So I started off like that. Then I started getting individual sponsorship for each child, and the ones that I couldn't manage to find was sponsored by me. So that's how we sustained, and we managed to pull off like 3 long years like that.
mm.
And this year, I'm very glad to tell you that we are partnering up with a local boarding school, and soon we would have, like, financial help as well. So
How wonderful.
that's what I'm telling you, even if you don't have a plan, so thankfully the good intent, the passion that I had, and the effort that I've put in from the very start, and when such plans actually materialize, it just shows that universe is actually on our side. So
Absolutely,
you know
absolutely. And fortune favors the brave, and fortune favors those who go out. I mean, Portia, I am a firm believer in this adage that if you really and passionately believe in something and work hard towards it, the universe conspires to help you and make it happen. It does.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
So that
continue.
has been
Mm,
that has always been at the back of my mind, like, how would I provide, how would I go on, how would I make this sustainable, because we can't always rely on contributions and sponsorships like individually. Maybe go out and ask a corporate to help us, or some bigger NGOs to help us, or something like that. But then at the back of my mind, if anybody would ask me, like, be honest and tell us what is your financial plan, if nothing works, what are you going to do? So
mm,
all the savings and all the wedding jewelry and everything that my father had left me with, so that was always my backup plan, that if one day it comes to that, and there's nothing else is working out, so be it, because anybody who wants to marry me will anyway end up marrying me. So we
exactly.
don't need the money and the jewelry for that.
True.
So yeah, that was the plan. And thankfully it never came to that.
Mm,
And see how everything is working out. So because I
absolutely.
always tell people that this is not about me, this is not my journey, this is actually the fate, the destiny of these kids. I'm just a medium, you know, and I'm so grateful that God chose me to become the medium. So I think it's just not my fate. It's not just my luck that is in favor. It's all these kids' collective luck also that is favoring us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so well said that it is the collective faith and the collective dream of these kids which is fueling back and channeling back into the universe and making it happen for you. So are you still writing for these international magazines and websites as you were doing earlier?
I am. Whenever I was in comic, because of lack of internet and all, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Hmm.
But every month, I would make sure that I would take up at least 2 3 assignments, and come down to Kaza for a day, and then finish those overnight, and deliver, and soon be back. So for the night, I would take the kids and come here. Or sometimes, even the local women have helped me. They said that leave two kids at every house, and we'll take care of them for the night. So I would
Hmm.
give them the food and everything, though they would always refuse ki koi problem nahi hai, ma'am aap jao kaam karke aao, because they also see that all alone,
Hmm.
if she's doing the dishes, she's cooking, she's teaching, I'm teaching the kids even while I'm cooking. So it's such a journey. And then I had the spine surgery in the month of December 2022.
Oh,
And I suffered a huge injury because I fell here in
hmm.
the mountains,
Okay.
and I injured my spine very badly. I was on wheelchair. My right leg also went immobile for a while. So when the doctors also said that it's looking very bleak that I would be able to stand up and walk, I think it was just willpower, and the willpower to just get back to Spiti, to my kids. I think
Hmm.
that kept me going, and I'm so lucky. I feel it's all my father's blessings that
Of
are
course.
just coming and making
Of
these
course.
things
Of
true and
course.
happen.
Of course. And not just your father's blessings, but the blessings of all those parents and the love of all the kids, who owe so much to you. So, what are the different subjects? What are the different subjects that you teach, and what are the levels of subjects that you teach?
So right now we are looking at class LKG. We had pre-nursery also, pre-nursery, nursery, LKG, UKG, class 1, 2,
Mm,
and a few students for class 4. So, we were looking at all the subjects that already the HP board has in their curriculum for
mm,
these classes. Apart from that, we had gardening classes, community service classes, arts, and, music, dance, and also made them watch documentaries and movies to make them or introduce them to this lovely language of English, because
mhm,
again English is not our native language, and you need to be introduced to it in a very fond way, so that people are not scared, kids are not scared of the language as a foreign language, but gets to fall in love with it.
mm,
And so when they watch these lovely animated movies, and when I while cooking or something, when I hear them trying to talk in English, like, how do you do and where are you from or something like that, it makes me so happy, because that uh, doesn't happen in classrooms in a place like this. So
mm,
initially Hindi was also a foreign language for them, so I had to converse mostly in sign languages, like, bhook lagi, you want to sleep, now let's study, so something like that. And when I started showing them the Hindi cartoon, that's how they started catching up on Hindi as well.
mm.
And it's so um, unbelievable to see how kids can start to learn so many languages in such a short time,
Yeah.
because it
What
was
is
just less
what
than
is the
3 months.
local language in Spiti?
It's the Tibetan Bhoti language.
Acha. And have you learned to speak that language?
No, but I have started to understand it and
Ah,
speak a little, a few words. But yes, I managed to understand, but not. I've not started
great.
to speak because it is nothing like Hindi.
Mm. I think, Portia, someday you should write a book. You should write a book about your experiences in Spiti, and all the learnings, and the kids and the classroom. It will make such a beautiful. It will make for very good and very interesting reading. And I'm sure a lot of people around the country, outside the country, they would love to hear about your experiences, read about your experiences.
That is a good thought. And
Yeah.
coming from an author like you, I think it's an inspiration. Yes, I
Great.
might give it a try someday.
Sure. Great. So, with that, let's end this episode today. Thank you, Portia, and I wish you all the very best in all your endeavors, in Lahul Spiti, and may you meet more and more bigger success, and change lives. There is nothing more noble, and there is nothing more beautiful than changing the lives of small kids. Because when you change the life of a kid, you are actually shaping the future generation.
Yes, we are hoping to change that,
Yeah,
because they are
yeah,
stuck in this whole vicious cycle of being either a momo wala or a driver or
yeah.
a homestay owner or a hotel owner, and we need to break that cycle. We need to
Absolutely.
give the kids a lot to dream about, to
Mhm.
lot to achieve. So that's the goal. And education alone can do that. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for having me. And
Thank
it
you.
was lovely talking to you.
Same here. Thank you so much.